Got a surprise email today at work. It's the day before the 4th of July, and they told us we could leave work early. I wasn't expecting that, but I decided, what should I do? Go see a movie. Decided to go see Won't You Be My Neighbor. It's the second time I've seen it. I really liked it, and I was wanting to see it again, but I didn't know when I was going to find the time, and lo and behold, now I have the time. So let's go check this out for a second time.
You're looking particularly beautiful today.
Just got out of the movie. Second time I saw it. I had to see this again because I really liked it. Yeah, heck of a good movie, heck of a good documentary. If you have any interest in Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, I say check it out. If you don't know much about him, I say check it out too. This is one of the best movies of the year, and one of the quieter, more smaller releases of the year. It's kind of raining on me, so I'm going to move a little bit. I was going to stand in front of the poster there, but it's raining on me. So yeah, second time I saw it, and it is fantastic. I'm a longtime fan of Mr. Rogers. My wife, my stepdaughter, and my brother and sister-in-law and their kids actually took a trip to Pittsburgh a couple of years ago to see some of the sets from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which are in the Heinz Museum in Pittsburgh. And I'll pop some of the pictures in here, but we saw King Friday's Castle and X the Owl's Tree and a few of the puppets, and I even got to sit in Mr. Rogers' arms. I went and sat in the arms of Mr. Rogers in his statue, which was interesting. But yeah, so yeah, I say check this movie out. If you haven't seen it yet, it needs to be seen. So I've seen Won't You Be My Neighbor, the documentary about Fred Rogers, twice now. Really liked it. And it is the second best documentary I've seen all year. You may say second best. What was the first best? Well, keep watching this channel. I got another video coming about another documentary that came out this summer that is just amazing. So what do I have to say about, obviously I liked Won't You Be My Neighbor. I went to see it twice, but well, let me give you a little background on me and my knowledge of Mr. Rogers. First of all, it's a very good documentary. It's very informative, but there's a lot of stuff that I already knew. I don't know if I learned anything new about Fred Rogers from this documentary, but I'm not the average viewer. I knew so much about Fred Rogers going in that I don't think my experience is going to be the typical experience. I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot about Fred Rogers in this documentary. I've got here a pile of documentaries about Fred Rogers that I've already watched. This was a PBS special. It's called Fred Rogers, America's Favorite Neighbor. This was a Pledge special several years ago. 03. This was from 03. This was from the year Fred Rogers passed away, actually. It's hosted by Michael Keaton, who worked on the show before he was an actor. He was a stagehand on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So I'd already seen this documentary, which if you can track down a copy, I highly recommend. This is great. This is from the A&E channel. This was an episode of an A&E show. Was this biography? Probably biography. Biography and True Hollywood Story was E. So yeah, A&E was, I think, biography. This was probably an episode of biography. It's only 50 minutes long, but it's just an episode called Fred Rogers. And you can see it written right there. You have to order these from the A&E website. I don't even know if they still sell them, but this was an episode that I had on my DVR for so long that I decided, you know what, I'm just going to order the DVD, and then I could delete it from my DVR. This is probably a DVD-R. Yeah, look, it's very, very plain. It just says Fred Rogers DVD. That's all it says. But yeah, this was an episode of A&E's biography, and you used to be able to buy this right off their website. You may still be able to. So that's another one I have. Now this one just aired on PBS recently. What you're about to see is a press copy, because I don't think there's an official DVD release yet. If there is, I haven't seen it. But Mr. Rogers, It's You I Like. And this was again hosted by Michael Keaton. And this one was just from the past year. So that's a good one. And here's one that centers on David Newell, who played Mr. McFeely on the show. This is called Speedy Delivery. So, I've seen all 4 of these more than once. I've seen each one of them more than once. Met David Newell, by the way. Awesome guy. If he's ever coming to a Comic-Con near you, check him out. You won't be disappointed. He's exactly the guy you want him to be. As I assume Fred Rogers was as well. So I knew a lot about Fred Rogers going in. I don't know if I learned anything new, but I think most people will learn a lot that they may not have known about the man. He was just, from everything I could tell, an amazing man. He was everything you think he was. He's everything he appeared to be. We could sure use a guy like Fred Rogers today. I'll tell you that. It's a shame he's no longer with us. But I have been a lifelong fan of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. As many people know, I kind of have an obsession with puppets, and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is a big part of that. One of the most memorable Christmas mornings when I was a child, I was probably only about 3 years old, was coming down on Christmas morning and finding a King Friday the 13th puppet under the Christmas tree. I still to this day have vivid memories of coming down and finding that King Friday puppet under the tree. I played with that King Friday puppet all the time. What happened to it? I don't know. But as an adult, I have such fond memories of that puppet. I went on eBay and I bought a replacement. This is just like the one I had as a child. This isn't my childhood one. Maybe it is my childhood one. Maybe it ended up in someone else's hands somehow and I bought back my own through eBay. Who knows? I doubt it though. But I got this King Friday puppet again. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, King Friday. There you go. I have like an old wine bottle in there for display purposes so he could sit on a shelf. But I also have, and this is brand new. These just hit the shelves recently. This is the Fred Rogers Funko Pop. There's a variation on this that's only available at Barnes & Noble, where instead of the trolley, he's holding a King Friday puppet. I have that one too, but that one is on my desk at work. Are you familiar with a chain of restaurants called Rainforest Cafe? They're just about everywhere. I think there's one in Disney World, like right outside Animal Kingdom, or at least there used to be. I went into the Rainforest Cafe one day with my family, and I saw something that just blew my mind. This is not some official Mr. Rogers merchandise, but I bought it because of my love of Mr. Rogers. This is a purple panda. Now, anyone who knows the Mr. Rogers show knows that there was a character on the show called Purple Panda who was a visitor from the planet Purple. I saw this and I'm like, oh my god, it's Purple Panda, and I had to get it. So he sits actually on the shelf next to King Friday. So, Purple Panda. Sometime later, I was somewhere else and I found a Purple Panda keychain. So, I've got 2 Purple Pandas. Now, both of these, both the big one and the little one, say, Wild Republic on the tag. So I don't know who Wild Republic is. This is not licensed by the Fred Rogers Company. So this is not official Mr. Rogers merchandise, but I got it anyway. And here's the last piece of Mr. Rogers memorabilia I'm going to show you that I have. This was a gift from my wife a couple years ago for Christmas. I love this. I absolutely love this. Look at this. This is made of wood. It is just fantastic. Now, I have one nitpick with this, and it's not just with this. They made a plastic. The same company that made this made a plastic replica of the trolley back in the 80s. And I never had that, but I knew someone who did, and I would play with it when I went to their house. And that plastic replica from the 80s and this wooden replica have the same error, I suppose. Look at the top. See this sign here that says Neighborhood Trolley? There's only one bar. There's one bar on the top that says Neighborhood Trolley. On the series, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, there were two. There was a space in the middle, and there was one on one end and one on the other. And I always wondered why, every time someone has made a replica of the Neighborhood Trolley, they got that detail wrong. It's kind of bizarre. Other than that, this is a perfect replica. I love this. I really, really love this. But I'd love to know why they made that design choice back in the 80s, why they made that design choice now. Why not just put the two bars and make it screen accurate? But that is a nitpick. I love this trolley. So there you go. I think I have one more thing. Did I lose it? Here it is. I mentioned on the first part of this video that at the Heinz Museum in Pittsburgh, they have a Mr. Rogers exhibit. I bought this lapel pin at the Heinz Museum. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? So, there you go. That's my Mr. Rogers memorabilia. Please be sure and check out Won't You Be My Neighbor. It's well worth your time. And if you can find any of these other things on DVD, I recommend them too. But Mr. Rogers was a real... Man, he was one in a million. And we could sure use a guy like him today. Keep on wearing those pajamas.